Today we are going to learn about rhetoric. Although it may sound like a strange word, you're actually quite familiar with it. You probably see it every day going down the street, hear it between and during your favorite songs, or see it on the news. You've probably used it yourself without even knowing. Think of the last advertisement you can remember well. How did it try to get you to buy a product or use a service? Did it show you happy people using what it's asking you to buy? Did someone famous or powerful tell you that they use this? Did it use a lot of facts, percentages, or charts and graphs to make their point? Without a doubt, advertisers are using rhetoric to try and get you to spend your money with them. It's up to you to be able to recognize what they're doing. Rhetoric is the art of effective and persuasive speaking and writing. If someone is trying to get you to do something or think a certain way, they are using rhetoric. There are three different types of rhetoric, known as appeals. There's ethos, which uses character or authority to make its argument. Celebrity endorsements, statements from government or organizations, providing credentials, or comparisons to religious figures are all examples of ethos. There's also pathos, which tries to influence the reader by making them feel something. This can be through positive emotions like joy, hunger, and desire, or negative emotions like fear, anger, and sadness. Finally, there's logos, which is an appeal that uses logic, deduction, or statistics. Logos can be used through mathematical comparisons, objective details, logical arguments, or philosophy and reason. Now that you know the different appeals, let's take a look at some examples and practice identifying which ones are being used. You can use multiple appeals at once, but many times one type will be used more than the others. For the following exercise, try to decide which appeal is the strongest. Take a look at this first example. What do you think? Here we have an extremely popular sports player endorsing an athletic shoe brand. It heavily implies that you might become a legend like him if you wear these shoes. This is very much ethos. How about this one? In the arms of an angel, fly away from here. Sad puppies, soulful music, and heartfelt pleas make this one pretty obvious. Although there is a celebrity and an organization involved, the main appeal is definitely pathos. Now check this one out. This stack of video games may not look as impressive anymore, but at the time this console claims to have more games available than its competitors. This focus on numbers and logic makes the main appeal logos. Now let's look at some more complicated examples that have more than one appeal being strongly used. This example is another older ad, this time for a type of cigarette. According to repeated nationwide surveys, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. What kind of argument is this ad making? What appeal or appeals does it use to get people to try their brand of cigarette? There are two appeals at work here. The most obvious appeal is ethos. The claim that more doctors smoke this particular brand of cigarette makes this brand seem healthier, since doctors know so much about staying healthy. In addition, the advertisers are claiming that they've done a survey and calculated the statistics, presumably as objectively as possible, which is an example of logos. Let's go in a different direction. This man is Ronaldo Martinez, and he says, "Nothing will ever be the same. Smoking gave me throat cancer at 39. Now I breathe through a hole in my throat and need this machine to speak." This quit smoking ad was put out by the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Michael R. Bloomberg, Mayor, and Thomas R. Reardon, MD, MPH, Commissioner. What appeal or appeals are these people and organizations using to get people to quit smoking? There are two main appeals being made with this public service announcement. Putting a face and a name to the consequences of smoking makes the audience sympathize with this man's experience and suffering. Ronaldo's blunt and vivid description of his circumstances could also shock the audience, or cause other negative emotions to become associated with smoking. In addition, the logo of the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, as well as the backing of the mayor and the health commissioner, give this message governmental authority, as well as Ronaldo's first-hand account of someone who smoked and suffered the consequences. And even though the only number used is 39, Ronaldo's words make for a compelling argument, essentially saying, "Smoking led to throat cancer, and throat cancer cost me my ability to speak and breathe freely. Therefore, smoking changed my life forever." Now that you know what rhetoric is, and have some practice in identifying the different ways it can be used, pay attention to how others speak to you. When you are reading or listening, see if you can identify how the author or speaker is trying to change the way you think. If you see one person using one particular appeal, investigate their argument using the other two. You might be surprised to find their argument doesn't pack the same punch when you examine it from all angles.